Thought I'd give everybody a camp update. It's not quite sunset, but as you can see, it's still too many leaves on the trees for me to be able to really use my solar panel in here. I mean, I get a little bit of direct sun, but once the rest of the leaves come down, I'll be golden. I got the shelter moved. Ooh, sorry for the glare. Boy, you talk about a pain in the ass. Took me 3 hours to get it moved back over here. I've still got to build. I'm not so sure I'm going to build a shelter over the top of it. I think what I'm going to do is build a pretty sizable porch over the front of it to capture some heat, like at night. That thing gets, even with the little bit of sun that hits it, it's 90 degrees in that sucker. I had to open the windows. And it's cold. It's like 54 with very breezy, so that puts it, low 50s, upper 40s. So I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll just use my underlayment to go along the walls. I'll cut out holes for the windows, and I'm going to buy plexiglass, and I'm going to build a wooden frame. I will do wood on the bottom for walls. And if I do build a shelter over the top, it'll be a wooden frame very much like that one, and then a clear tarp shelter with plenty of beams to keep the snow load off. I may use pallet wrap. I may do like an A-frame and use pallet wrap. That way the sunshine comes in, but this keeps the snow load off. I don't know yet what I'm going to do. I know I'm going to build another. I watched Kevin Build's video. He put up a cabin in one day. He used all pallet wrap. I'm not going to do that. This is a park. I don't want to have to dispose of all that later. This isn't my private property. I've got plenty of wood beams cut. There's more stacked over there. There's more stacked on the other side of that wall. There's a couple over there. There's a whole bunch right there. Plus I've got all those. Those are spikes that broke off and they were used to mark curbs for snow. I've been collecting those for 4 years. Got my rocks. I was going to dig that out and put my metal fire pit. It has that lid there, right there, but that's too much work. I think I'm just going to, that kind of works. It's elevated. It's a little easier to get to, but I had to dig that out because it was slanted like way up. It was too slanted. And when you're working on the fire and you have to step back, you've got to have even ground. Otherwise, you're going to bust your ankle. So I've still got to fill that in. I harvested a hell of a lot of rocks, which it's hard to see because of all the leaves. And then I've got a whole pile of rocks over here. Those are mostly pretty flat that they're going to be used. I'm actually going to cut this into discs since I've got my chainsaw. I'm going to do one of those, like the discs will be about that tall, about that big around. And I may even find some bigger logs like that one right there. That's up off the ground, so that'll be in good shape. And that seasoned, that's been down 3 years now. And it's completely up off the ground. So I'll have plenty of disc to put down for my flooring. And then one section, of course, will be, that's all my laundry. That's all blankets. Blankets and sleeping bags that have to be washed. Even though I washed them before I put them in there, they still smell funky from like mildew or whatever. So I've got 5 sleeping bags, 4 or 5 or 6 big ass wool blankets in those big tubs back there. I've got a lot of laundry to do. There's my underlayment. That'll go on the side. Oh, I can feel the hot air coming out of there. Yeah, I don't think I want to cover the top anyway. I mean, you gotta have, part of it has to be exposed to the sun to let the heat in, and then another part of it has to be insulated to hold the heat in. The underlayment's gonna go on the floor, and I'm also gonna buy those foam work pads, work mat flooring, those floor foam, I think it's called EVA or PVC or some kind of foam tiles that you like stand on at a cash register. If you stand at your workbench, you buy them. They're pretty cheap. I can get 40 of them on Temu for $30. That's pretty good. Of course, that's 10 by 7, but I don't need the whole thing because I need one section that's going to be stone for the fire pit. And then another section is going to be wooden discs on my main walk area. And then, I don't know, I may not need the foam at all. Once I get those wooden discs down, and then I'll put small rocks in between the wood discs. I'm not going to put concrete. I'll just fill it up with the small rocks. And see, that's something I can do during the winter because it'll be heated in there and it'll be warm. I'm trying to get everything done outside that I need to get done before the ground is frozen and covered in snow and ice. Luckily, I've got plenty of firewood that's up off the ground. So I can't use my solar panel yet, but I did go charge up my unit via wall charger. I sat and ate breakfast and then ate lunch and charged up the whole time. So it's at 100%. So I've got plenty of power for a while. And by the time it gets down to, it stops really being, it's only got about 75% capacity, but that's standard for all power banks. Once they hit 30-35%, they start dropping real rapid. They don't really charge anything anymore. And I watched, there's guys that do nothing but review Blue Eddy, EcoFlow, and you're lucky if you get 75. If you get 75% or 80, you're doing real good. And that's all. It don't matter what brand it is. No, you never get the full capacity that it's advertised. Batteries just don't work that way. So anyway, by the time it gets low enough that I need to charge it again, I'll have enough leaves off the trees that I'll be able to set my solar panels out every day and charge them. And I'm going to build something, a special something for them to go on so they're not sitting on the ground. That's all rock. That's rock. That's rock. But yeah, I may build something like that they can hang on, and the sun is low enough that they don't need to be laying on the ground. They could probably hang straight vertical and get plenty of sun, at least enough to keep it topped off. I'll figure that out down the road. But anyway, I'm going to be working on my fire pit. I got a few hours daylight left. I'm going to get these big rocks moved over here and get these rocks sorted out by size. The tiny ones are going to be for flooring, and then the not so tiny ones are going to be for drain along the side of this. So when the snow melts, you don't want a big puddle of water. That's full of, I've got more than enough rocks. I've got plenty of rocks, that's for sure. Both these are full of rocks. I have to put them in front of that door to keep the raccoons out of there. They go in there and plunder. So I got to level this out. I'm using my old $7 machete to do that. That's the easiest way to do it. Basically just carving it out little by little. Carving it into that hole. And then eventually that chicken wire there will be repurposed. Probably for the cabin that's going over here. Those rocks, plus I got a bunch of rocks over here. No matter how I arranged them, I could not get this thing level. And this still ain't perfectly level. But it's a hell of a lot more level. The whole frame was twisted when it was sitting over here, and it was just going to be too much work to get it level. So, and I'm still too close to that Widowmaker right there. That thing right there. I'm still too close, but I'm far enough away that it's not going to kill me. It's going to come very close to camp, but it's not going to, there's no way that is going to come on top of that. So there's the update. A lot of work to do, but it's perfect weather right now. Yesterday it was 80 degrees. I was like, I didn't want to move. Today it's just absolutely gorgeous. Oh, those are some big leaves. Those are some big leaves. I'm going to go get a couple of those leaves and trace them. Those will be great for eco prints. It won't let me zoom. Oh, there we go. Look at the size of those leaves. They're massive. Yep, so a lot of hauling and moving and lifting and digging and not the fun stuff. Got to get all that done before I can do the fun part of cutting down my beams and building my window frames. And of course the raccoons tried to bust in. Turds. Oh well. I'm going to replace that. That I'm not too worried about because I've got the got a big, huge roll of that mesh right there. So, and then that'll be. I've got a staple gun to staple it to whatever frame I build. Yep, I've got plenty of wood. I've got plenty of projects. I'm going to be busy all winter. That's kind of the point. Building this fireplace and getting these. See, the wind's coming from the north, and I'm going to build another thing there, but it's going to go from this tree probably to, I was going to build it to there, but it's probably going to go to that tree there or that tree there to keep most of the wind off my face. And then there will be radiant barrier, reflective stuff that'll be stapled to that, at least right here anyway. And that way that heat from that fire will bounce off that. The stones will act as thermal mass, and I can be out here working, and there'll be a covered porch right here. Not sure how I'm gonna. I'll string something up between this tree, these trees here. Between here and here and here and here, I'll have something strung up. And then probably like a center pole, I'll get a 10 by 10. And that way I will have, when I come out my door, because I want that door to swing out, and you don't want that. If you get a snowstorm like we get, that door is not going to open. So I want to make sure that I can open my door. And yeah, I got to figure out what I'm going to do with, I'll just have to leave it unzipped while I'm inside of there sleeping. Of course, that may just be storage, and that may be for storage and cooking and working, and then I may just use this cabin for sleeping. But that thing is too small, it's too old. The raccoons have ripped so many holes. The mice come and go as they please.